Everybody wants to stand out. Everybody wants to get business to their business. But many of us struggle with the marketing, like we're not even talking to the right people or we're not even in the right niche. If that's you, and we're talking about other things that many of us struggle when it comes to marketing, then you want to stay tuned for this episode of Journey of an Entrepreneur, where my guest and I are going to be talking about this. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to this episode. And I know it's been a while since I have been here. I made a few mistakes, but you know what? We keep the show going. My name is Shri. And if you don't know, I announced last week that I am a social media manager. And one of the things that we talk about when we work with different practices is how do we build visibility? How do we get your practice to stand out? And like many of you, if you're very new into your entrepreneurial journey, or maybe you have been in business for a while and you're like, maybe I'm not talking to the right people. Maybe I'm not putting myself in front of the right product. Maybe I'm doing the wrong things. This episode is what we're going to talk about. So, my guest is an international speaker. He is a sales and marketing coach, and he also is an author. And we go live every Wednesday. It's called the Experience Backstage. And it's with Russ and D. Scott and myself. But today we have Russ Hedge, and he's going to be talking to us, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Now, I can tell I'm nervous because I'm already messing up the show, because I was like, what's the name of the show? Why can I not? I should have made notes. Like, if you guys could see, I have like this big screen. I should have put notes up there, because I can tell you when you come back from taking a break and you're going live, you're like, there's a lot of things you forget. But I just want to say hi to Yolanda, who's here. Thank you so much for joining. And guys, if you're trying to join in and you are struggling with seeing your comments on LinkedIn, we are also on YouTube. You can go onto my page or Russ's, but we want to make sure we don't miss you. So, okay, Russ, you are also live on your page. How is that possible?
It's an amazing technology. Hey, I'm so blessed to be here, Shri. Thank you. I've finally risen to the level where I get to be on your show. But I am so glad that we're able to do this today. It is amazing that we can actually broadcast on multiple pages, right? And I love that. And the ability to not only share, but reshare and multi stream, but share that ability is great. So, yeah, that it goes through the couple different platforms that we use, but yeah, StreamYard today is working great.
Well, you're also live right now. The best of Russ is going live right now on your
Oh,
show.
that's right. I forgot. I've got two lives going at the same time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what? I have to take this picture for you guys. Like, it is going to be on he's got to see it. So I'm sorry. I know you guys wanted to hear. And if you're listening on the replay, on the podcast, what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling up his profile. And it's really interesting because he has two live shows. There's the one where he's with me, and then here's the one where he has on his show that he normally does on Thursdays. Like, how is that possible? Are you talking to Rob over there and pulling an AI situation?
I'm telling you that, it's interesting because people have before asked me how I can be in so many places at the same time. And this is where it's amazing social media comes in and all the platforms we have available to us. Yes. So obviously it's a best of show because I wanted to be on your show so much, Shri, that I just did a best of on my show. Well, it's something that's an amazing show for people to watch, by the way. You can go back and watch on replay my show since you're watching Shri and I today, obviously.
Yes, you can go back over there while I'm over here just playing with buttons because again, I'm just coming back. Yes, Yolanda, he is really live because he's on multiple shows at the same time. But
There
we're
you
we're
go.
not gonna we're not gonna go too deep in the what is it? The rabbit hole for that. So for those who don't know who you are, I would like to bring us back to when you were in college, Russ, at Oregon State. And how did you know you wanted to get into marketing and sales?
That's interesting. You're taking me back there. I think really the sales and marketing started back when I was in Cub Scouts
Oh.
because my dad was the pack master and we had these competitions on selling scout capade tickets, and if you sold enough you won prizes. And so I went crazy, man. I went door to door all through my neighborhood, and I had my parents take me to other neighborhoods, and of course I was in the top couple people selling. I loved it, and that's where we really got the idea that I love to do those things. I always love people too, so it was easy for me to talk to people. So that made a difference in sales and marketing. But if we bounce up to Oregon State University, actually, I was in communications. So right along these lines perfectly. But I was going to go into public relations, which really is sales of people or platforms or businesses, whatever. And I started in public relations. I worked for a big firm in downtown Portland after I graduated, and then I'd interned there actually the last term of my college year at Oregon State. I interned there, and I thought it was big time because I was downtown Portland. I was pretty excited. I thought I hit the big executive suite. I was ready to go. So, but then the reality set in. I graduated, and I had to take a position in the mailroom at the company to have a job.
There's a lot of I can relate to that where you graduate and you're like, I put all this work and why am I starting here when I can be starting, at least a little bit above the mailroom, but we all have to start somewhere.
Yep.
So fast forward to 2020. Here you have this marketing and sales background from Cub Scout days, selling those, cookies or whatever you guys were selling. And when you started as an entrepreneur, what were some of the things that you were doing to help yourself start to get some momentum in your business?
Well, I think that I really just think it all boiled down to God created me with a personality that loved to help people. And so helping people is what sales is all about, right? You're helping them to solve a problem, you're helping them to be able to do something in their business with the product or service that you have. And I don't know. I think from my earliest days, I just really enjoyed that. And I really enjoyed people. In fact, if we go back to my mailroom job, I want to tell you that when my boss called me, who was over me during my internship, I was working with some pretty big people during my internship. And he called me and says, you probably aren't going to want this, but Tony just quit in the mailroom. And I just thought I'd let you know. And I said, does it have benefits? Yes. I said, can I start Monday? He said, yes. And so when I went, I was going around to my office delivering mail and taking care of the boss's Jaguar and Mercedes. It was a really rough job. Going to Blazer games because the boss couldn't go, those kind of things. And I really loved it. I made very little money, but I really loved it. And it was one of the most stress-free jobs. But what it taught me was that connection and community building with people. It just reinforced that. I already had that within me, but all of that, it just didn't matter what job I was in. I was still out there helping people. So I ended up launching from there into my first sales job, I guess, after college. And yeah, it was just a matter of working with companies and then helping them to whatever I was doing at the time. I didn't have a whole lot of jobs, but whatever service or product I was selling, it was a lot of fun, and I still love it to this day.
This is when you were in 2020, or when are you talking about
No,
when you
this is
were
way
way
back.
before that? Okay.
Yeah, this is
So
back, right. I started that job before kids, and my my oldest is 33. And so yeah, I went from actually that job in the PR company to one sales job. Then I ended up taking a job here that was in Portland. I took a job here in where I live in Salem, Oregon, and was actually sales and marketing manager for a landscape and tree service company, which was a family business. And I loved that job because I was right next to my family and my kids the whole time they grew up. And so I haven't had tons of jobs over my life. I had one other job, and then I started my own company in 2020. Yeah, doing what I'm doing now.
So going back to 2020, with your experience, how did you help float your business? Because in the beginning, like many of us, we don't have, some of us have a really good base of, we have a pool because we've been kind of doing this. But for
Yeah.
you, what was that like? Was it that, did you have a pool, or how did you go about and trying to help yourself
Yeah.
get your name out there?
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me tell everybody that connection and community building is the foundation of any good business. And that is what I had been doing my whole life. So, the first thing that happened is I started my own business, and I had this gigantic pool of connections. I mean, I was very well connected. I wasn't as connected around the world as I am now because we just launched into online, but locally, I was super connected. And so, mostly people said to me, "How can I help you with your business?" And they started paying me and helping me. So it was really kind of an easy start, honestly. And I also was blessed to be able to take the first year to mostly um, put my business together, make plans, start things slowly, get used to it, write my book, start podcasting, doing that kind of stuff. It happened kind of a gradual, which was good because COVID had just basically wiped the slate clean and cleared the decks. And so I had plenty of time to work on things. So it was great.
So if let's say you didn't have this community, because some people don't have that community, what is like, what's the tip that you could share that would help them start to build community? Because you can't say I have this product and they will come. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I would say when I worked at the PR company, there was an advertising company, our competition that was across the street in downtown Portland. They had this little account called Nike, and Nike was just getting started. Needless to say, this company blew up and they became internationally huge because they work for Nike. But
Who's Nike? Just do it, Nike.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Their theme, just do it. The whole slogan is what I would say to people. Just do it. You got to get started. And not how do you start? You've just got to start. And so basically the tips that I have though along that is to get around people and get around where the people are that you want to connect with, that relate to your business, that need your service or product, whatever that is. Start hanging out places where they are. I mean, whether it's a chamber, a rotary, whether it's a business association, whatever it might be, maybe it's all the above. I kind of dove in, honestly, in my early days and did a little bit of all the above and started connecting to all kinds of, and then finding the people within those organizations that I could really connect with. And I do, I know you've heard this, Sri, but I have a workshop called Turn Cold Calling into Making Sales. And the whole premise for that is the very first part of that is really getting out there and connecting to people in all kinds of different ways, right? And walking in the door and already knowing the people. You already know them. So it's everything is like a warm lead. And if you don't know them, you're going to find out all about them and act like you know them, right? And that's the whole thing. And then you're going to listen to everything they say. And people love that because they're their most favorite person. Their most favorite person is right here. They want to hear about, I want to talk. I want to tell people about me, right? Because that's how we all are. And so when you let them tell you and speak and all this, you quickly build community with them and connect with them. So anyway, I just think that that's the number one thing. Just do it. Build community by finding out where those people are and go to them and go talk to them.
So there you have like three. It was one question with three amazing tips, and it's about networking because it really is what you can do. You can start in your city. But what if you're in a place that doesn't have like that much? Because we have some listeners who are in a town or in a place where the largest city may be like 2, 3 hours away. How can you do that using social media?
Yeah, so this is great. I mean, the technology we have available to us today, I'm still a huge fan of face to face as much as possible, but I have built a gigantic community online because COVID forced us to do that. And it was really fun because I can't wake up in the morning and drive to London or wake up in the morning and drive to South Africa or drive to Manila, the Philippines, but I have wonderful friends in all those places. So it gave us that opportunity. So if you're not in an area where you can just drive down the street and connect with people, you need to get online and do the same thing. Just do it, get started. Don't let fear hold you back because everybody, hey, we're all in the same boat. We're all trying to connect with people and build this customer base. And the way you do that is by reaching out one way or another. And don't try to sell people. That's what I always tell people. I mean, don't try to the number one thing I get like on LinkedIn. So most of my community is amazing on LinkedIn, but people who are trying to connect that say, "Hey, let's connect, Russ." And the next email I get is a 5-page sales pitch. Well, they don't even know who I am. They don't know what I need. They don't know what I want. And that just kind of irritates me. So I just say, thanks for connecting. And I let them shuffle off from there because that's not what connecting is all about. Get even online, get to know them, act interested in them. I mean, be interested in them. That's what be interested and act that way too, because you want people to know that you care about them. John Maxwell says people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care about people, and then they will care about you. And so I think that's important. And you can do that online, social media, email, live streaming, whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do that.
Yes, there is. And as you were talking, the first person that came up was Inger, because I think through Inger is how I met you, because I connected with her and then we connected and we spoke in 2021 in October. Here's the story, guys. There's a story. And the reason why I say, you know who I'm missing is Inger, because when I met Inger, then somehow I get a message from Russ and then we decided to meet. We met online, which was in October. It was my birthday weekend. I was in Miami. Then he said, I would love for you to be a guest. I was like, that's awesome. So this is December. It was December 16th. He's like, yeah, my show is this day and I want you to be a guest. And I was like, that's great. I'm really excited. Little did I know that I didn't know this, but that day comes, I was laid off. And I could have said, no, I don't want to do this show. But instead, I just showed up. I just said, hey. And he asked me, he's like, so how are you doing, Trey? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing great. I got laid off, but we're here. And he was like, oh,
It's a good thing I'm good at rolling with the punches on those things because it's kind of like inside you're going, oh, okay, that wasn't the best question to ask.
it is. It is the best question to ask. But I will say that is how community is through one person. Not, I wasn't even, we do the group chats and say, hey, I want to introduce you to this person. It could be literally that they saw a comment of yours. I don't know. But somehow Russ came into my DMs and we connected. So that's the power of being on social media when you post content, when you put yourself out there. Now, I kind of Yes, there's no
Let me
excuse for not connecting, Yolanda.
Right. Let me say one thing to that too. And you have to be very intentional about connecting. So even though I am a very good connector, and that is one of my God-given superpowers. I'm good at connecting, I'm good at encouraging. That is things that I do well. And so, but I have to intentionally practice and work on them, which means what? Means when I get up in the morning, I intentionally connect with a few people I don't know. How do I do that? I go to people I do know, like Shri, it's amazing people like Shri, and I tap into one of her or two of her friends that I see that look interesting to me, and I click on them. I send them a message to connect, and I said, "Hey, I see you're connected to my friend Shri. Any friend of Shri's is a friend of mine. Love to connect. Have a blessed day." And I shoot it off. And most of those, I would say 95% of those are returned with happy to connect, glad to do it. Right. And so you're using people that are in your community that you want to be in your community. And you know that people in their community are probably similar to the way they are because like people attract. And so you've got to intentionally do those things that connect with people every day.
So there you go. It's the circle of influence. Who
Yep.
who in your network can introduce you to the next person you're trying to get to. Now, the next thing that comes up too is, you know, am I speaking to the right audience? Now, this is something that I actually can relate to because last year, and especially this year too, I was like, okay, the topics that I talk about, the way that we are presenting ourselves in the market is not aligned. We do social media management. And for a long time, people were calling me social media manager. So, of course, the content, the people that I'm trying to attract, it just wasn't going. Why? Because I was calling myself a video marketing producer. And these two things are different. So, I had to take a step back and I had to recognize what are the things that I'm doing in my business right now. We have been managing accounts, creating the content, doing the strategy, filming the content for the clients for over a year and a half. And I realized, you know what, I need to stop and just call myself a social media manager. Now, Russ, when you have a client that's like myself, how do you walk them to help them walk away from that? Because that is very frustrating. Going through a year, maybe they're doing it for 6 months, and how do you help them recognize like maybe this isn't working because you're actually this?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think that number one thing you got to do is you got to look at what lane are you driving in? Are you in the right lane, first of all? Because you really need to stay in your lane. And then you got to figure out what your lane is. And like you said, you were doing video, but it was a service that was accomplishing social media management, is what it was doing. So what you really were was not the video producer. You could do video production. Just like I tell people, I could do live stream production, but I'm not really a live stream producer. I mean, that is something that I put down that I can do, but it's not really what I am. And so I think that when I talk to people that are having that, what I do is just listen to them and let them talk to me about what they are doing currently and how they're feeling and how successful they are. And a lot of times they're able to talk their own way through it, honestly. They come to the point and you say, well, here, I usually say to people, this is what I'm hearing you say. And people are like, oh, that's right. Yeah. I mean, people can kind of almost talk themselves to where they need to be. They just need somebody else to help recognize that point. My guess is that's what happened with you. You probably had this nice guy named Robert that listened to you and said, this is what you really are.
No, it was actually social media managers like Anya, Elizabeth Ray Cloud that
Right.
pointed out a few things that got me to see it. But I will
Yeah.
share that this is really difficult, especially when you're new in your business. You're thinking that you're talking to the right crowd. Guys, I I was started out with video coaching, then I was doing producing of live streaming shows, and then we were showing a full service. But this is not something that happened overnight. It was very frustrating, even to the person that I was pitching to change
Right.
too. But what hasn't changed since we've gone into, we do work with lawyers and doctors. We're now just being more saying it. It was a law or medical practice. Now it's like doctors, lawyers. So if someone is new into the business and they don't know what they should be doing, what do you suggest are some questions they should ask themselves?
Well, first of all, if they're new to the business, they should seek out a really good coach or mentor, somebody who can help them walk through this and see. We all have these gigantic blind spots, right? And just over the last couple of days, I've been talking to some very successful people and getting their opinion. The problem you run into is sometimes you believe your own press releases. People say to you, Russ, you're amazing. You know everybody. You're so successful. And I'm thinking inside, I don't know everybody and I'm not nearly where I want to be. And so I can't believe all that. What I need to do is go to somebody who's way above me, like I did the last couple of days, that can really point me. I kind of felt like a brand new beginner talking the last couple of days to some people that are miles ahead of me in speaking. And I've also realized this is a question that people should ask themselves. If things aren't churning, you're in front of the wrong audience. I'll just tell you that right off the bat. You have the wrong clientele. You're going to the wrong place to try to find people. And really, the truth of it is, the people I need to speak to about what I really have on my heart, same thing I've been doing all along. I don't mind coaching people that are new to business or smaller businesses, but I need to get on bigger stages and get to bigger businesses. So I have been elevating the people I'm talking to, getting around people who can get me to those people. Sometimes those people may not work for a gigantic company, but they're so connected. They may be connected to people on a much higher level. So ask yourself, am I where I want to be? And then probably if you're asking that, the answer is no. Then what do I really want to achieve? And I want to get on bigger stages. So talking to a lot of the people that I talk to just isn't going to do it. Doesn't mean I have to ignore them. I still love to inspire and encourage them. That's my God-given why and purpose in life. But in order to do this on a bigger level, I need to get up the ladder to some bigger people. And I've been really doing that well over the last, probably the last few weeks. I mean, I've really started to focus in more on that. I think it was after my 60th birthday here, Shri, that I really started thinking, I just want to really focus in on what I love and what I think God's really called me to. And so there you go.
And these are things, it's not something that happened overnight. If you found that this was really helpful, but you want to have more discussion, you can definitely reach out to Russ for that. Yolanda will tell you he practices what he preaches, because that's the way, like, especially when it's connecting, that's the way he connects. He'll reach out and he'll say, I see that you're connected to this amazing person, and if you're amazing, if they're amazing, that must be mean you're amazing, so let's connect. And then, of course, we have Garen here, who always shares really good, insightful tips on user generated content, how to show yourself on camera and live. And then we have Robert. He has that audit guy. So I want to let people know, how can they connect with you? How can they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Well, the nice thing is I'm a simple-minded guy. Keep it simple. RussHedge.com. That's my one-stop shop. Don't need Linktree. Don't need a million other things. All you need is my website, RussHedge.com, because everything is there. All my connection links, all the information about me. And how to connect with me is right at the top of the page. So simple. I also have a free PDF you can download. I have great information. I have a great email, encouraging email that goes out every morning that you can be part of, and all the stuff that I do. But RussHedge.com is definitely the place to go. And I probably hang out a lot on LinkedIn. So if you want to bounce to the place I like the best, that's probably the best.
But you can also catch us on Wednesday mornings. That is 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time,
Yeah.
8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. See, I had to think of all of the time zones because I usually fumble on this. But yes, keep it simple. And I want to say that keeping it simple, like in your business, try out whatever it is you're doing. If you decide tomorrow you want to be a producer for live streaming shows, test it out. Because what I'm seeing is people getting frustrated, especially on LinkedIn, after promoting themselves for like 3 months and they're saying, well, I'm not getting any results. We all can tell you it's not an overnight success. It takes time. And when we say time, I didn't grow right away. I didn't have a viral post that it was like months in, and sales didn't come right away. They took time, and you will see different posts. So for you, Russ, when you started posting, what was some words of advice given to you that you can share with others?
Well, I think just be authentic. And, what really, there's so many people on social media trying to be somebody else or trying to let everybody think they're somebody else. I'll just be honest, that's happening all the time. And so my whole thing as far as posting was around connecting and events and things that I went to. So hashtag Russ Selfie. If you have looked that up, go in and type in hashtag Russ Selfie and you will find thousands of hashtag Russ Selfies out there. And a lot of those are, they call them, I guess they'd call them ussies, because they're with all my friends, with people, and I'm having fun at events and connecting. It's a great connection tool. And that is what I did. I was authentic me. What am I doing? Where am I at? And I tell you, everybody, I am just a positive, upbeat guy. I love God and I love people. And if you want somebody to light up the room, you just need to give me a call or send me a message or email me or whatever. I would love to speak for your group, because that's what I'm all about. And those are the things that I put on social media. And I think that is the best advice. Be you, be authentic.
That's it. And Garen is giving us the fire emoji to let us know that that is hot tips right there. So, what we're going to do right now is we're going to stop the conversation here because I'm inviting you to come and join us on Instagram, where we're going to talk more about how to stand out. What are some things to watch out? Because, look, we're all in this together. We all want to make money, and we all have a share to make money. And so we don't want you to be frustrated, because I know how that feels. So next week I have a live, but it'll be earlier, and it might be a pop-up. You just got to look out for that. But until my next live, I just want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to Russ for joining in this conversation, sharing what you shared today.
Thank
And
you.
if you found this really helpful today, share it with a friend. I take these episodes and I turn them into a podcast. So definitely look out for that. It's called Adventure of an Entrepreneur. I'll drop the link soon. But until the next time, everybody, have a wonderful evening or morning, wherever you are. Take care, everybody.